Mr. Charis Stengos, which is the managing director of Quento, Romania, which is part of the Qualco group. And he will have a very interesting presentation. Charis, please.
Deci, după nu mă înțelegeți ca sunt grec. Deci, sincer, trec în engleză, vorbesc limba romană, dar mai bine în engleză, ok? Deci, I would like to remember just 3 words. The one is Phronesis. And this is the 3 words that I would like to walk you away after this meeting. The first is Phronesis, the second is philosophy, and the third is ethos. You remember back in 28th of January what happened with the Moltbook case after the whole digital city town, which was actually a ghost city with 1 million agents interacting without any kind of human intervention, and all the horror that created, and all the, you know, the concerns that all of us, the leaders, CIOs, CICOs, we should have. So, and imagine this coming in banking. How many we should be very aware about perimeter-based defenses and human-centered access control. It shows also that could compromise all the enterprise data or banking operation very rapidly and with a big cost for banks and, you know, the PIIs. And also it underscores the robust AI governance frameworks. By the way, I love deer. So I made also last year, I self-published a book, which is already Amazon bestseller, and this is my favorite animal. And I will explain you a bit about this. So the first word that I would like to keep is Phronesis. And Phronesis is not like the episteme, which is actually to be book smart, or the techne, which is actually to be technically something very good, as it was the Moltbook. So fantastic, you know, superhuman, but without kind of meaning and human intervention. Everything, it follows kind of in a vacuum, so there's no any meaning. So, and the lessons learned out of this kind of Moltbook case was actually we should be aware about the Potemkin wisdom, meaning we love as a people to have this kind of hypes, the smart dashboards, you know, the good reports, but at the end of the day, do we have this kind of skill, deliberate capacity to lead in a common good? We should ask ourselves, we should pause a bit, reflect, and then act. Second is vigilance as a virtue. As I said, in the Greek mythology, deer was the sacred animal of Artemis. And why it's super important for you as a CIOs and CICOs to have is meaning exactly this. What has deer? This kind of situational awareness. So should be aware. So whenever, you know, the data are not harmoniously related with the truth, we should ask ourselves, is that something that we should, you know, think differently? And the third is from compliance to character. You said something very good before, the guy from MasterCard, how we move from this kind of, you know, the compliance is not just the norm. We should prepare our teams to have this kind of leadership virtues, to be proactive, to think about what is coming before a crisis, during a crisis, after a cyber attack incident. So we should have this kind of character, because at the end of the day, compliance is governed by rules. And what we realized with Moltbook case is that rules very quickly can govern by agents. So how we connect human to machines and so forth. The second thing is philosophy. Mark Anderson, the VC guys from Silicon Valley, with the partner with Anderson and Horowitz, he said back in 2012 that, you know what, software, it's hardware and traditional services. 2022, they said, you know what, Gen AI is software creation. And now, one article by MIT Sloan Management Review said, you know what, philosophy is actually, and human insights can eat AI, not just for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know? And for that, we should have this kind of, we need to click back and to think and double-click in this kind of philosophical angles about how we can make epistemology, ontology, teleology, and finally ethics, meaning the study of knowledge, the study of reality, the study of purpose, and the study of morality. Are we aware to put, and I think Robert Greene in the previous presentation, he put a fantastic action plan, 6 actions about the CIOs and CISOs. Before this, we should put this in the lens of philosophy. Do we have the right knowledge to make, to tag all the hallucinations? Do we have the right reality to put everything in the right category so we classify everything, all the information the right way? Do we have the purpose, or do we know where AI ends? What is the intention of AI? And last but not least, the ethics in terms of technology, how we put the ethics. And then I would like to speak about the third big thing, which is, I put it as a separate chapter also in my book, and a lot of quotes about CIOs and CISOs, how critical it is, and also from an ex-colleague from Google. So ethos is, like, from my perspective, one of the most important things when it comes nowadays in leadership. So without ethos, without system integrity, and without this kind of scientific rigor as well, so not to be shallow thinker, to think twice before we did everything, it says a lot. And ethos is not about only for the moral integrity that I mentioned, it's also the stakeholders' trust. And since we speak about zero trust technologies and all of this, how we can scale trust, how we can become beyond code, and we can scale trust in our teams and in our organizations. And then values and work ethic. And I would like to mention now a former colleague from Google Cloud. I forgot to mention I have already 10 years in Romania, so I worked 7 years for Microsoft, 2 years for Google. And I had the chance to meet with some of the big guys. Phil used to say about ethos that we have to have this kind of shared faith and transparency when we think about AI and cybersecurity. And another guy that I really admire, that is also from your community, is Alan Rosa, that has is a champion actually globally for CICO's ethos and the framework. So, but what common they have all of these 3 words? They are Greek, as I am Greek, and as the company that I represent. So after 10 years with multinationals, now I am in one company which is based in Greece, born in Greece, but it's actually a regional powerhouse. At the moment, Qualcomm Group has 134 million of group revenues. We have 22% EBITDA, 1,300 employees, 140 clients across different geographies, 30 countries global reach, and 25 years of experience. And here's something very critical. 25 years of experience in Greece. It's not easy task, eh? Greece, another word that comes from Greece is crisis. So for us, crisis is a modus operandi. So I born in crisis, I graduated in crisis, I worked in crisis, I moved in Romania because of crisis. So for me, crisis is like something very common. I do business based on crisis, And being one company that was through all of these ups and downs and becoming last year in the stock exchange, it's something that they told me, what, we want good people. Are you going to quit from Google to come with us? And I said, okay, guys, let's do. And then, this kind of 25 years of resilience, for me, it's super important nowadays. And in order to build also your companies to be resilient, you need to think about how you can be prepared for long-term crisis, not just cybersecurity events that you can solve it in 48 hours, 72 hours, okay? Then some other characteristics about the company is the proven ability to expand and diversify through strategic acquisitions. So we grew organically and inorganically, intellectual property, especially in banks, successful experience with institutional investors, and agile organizational structure. But what is Quento? Quento is the ICT arm of Qualcomm. So we are already offices in Athens and in Bucharest. We have service location in 5 cities, Luxembourg, Brussels, Bratislava, Warsaw, and Stockholm. At the moment, we have 255 consultants, architects, and engineers, 23 million revenue, and 3.5 million EBITDA. So we are a startup, but a scale-up. So we are new in Romania, but we are already a tech scale-up. So, and we have some very important customer references, so PPC, Enaon, Unilever, Motorola, Duvalue, Eurobank, and here's something very important, European Union institution. Again, it's different to go for a tender in a Romanian bank or in any other company, and it's different to go through EU organization. And having said that, let me double-click in two customer references that we did in Europe. The one is European Label Authority, that we did a cybersecurity multi-million deal with them, and we have already started delivering. So the first part is a risk management framework, a deliverable. The second one is a maturity assessment report, a cybersecurity plan aligned to very strict and rigorous regulation that they have. Incident response protocols, configuration documentation, training and awareness. We have also an army, as I said you, of consultants that if you think also in the future, in terms of staff augmentation, that you may need us, here I am. Performance dashboard, compliance, events, and sign-off. So at the moment, European Label Authority is ready for audit. Then I would like to end my presentation with PPC. So at the moment we are, and I see the colleagues from ServiceNow here, and there is a fantastic panel after me that one of the partners of ServiceNow will elaborate more what they are doing. We collaborated very closely with PPC, and we did SecOps. As you know, SecOps is a fantastic IT portfolio that it unified everything. So from vulnerability management, incidents response, kind of remediaries workflows, threat intelligence. Imagine everything in one dashboard. So we did with PPC security incident response, and we put them everything in a framework for them, and also vulnerability response. And now they have everything as a unified dashboard on ServiceNow. Outside in the stand of Quento, we have a demo of what SecOps is doing, not just in PPC, but overall. So that's it. I was even quicker, eh? You know, that's it.
Thank you very much, Charis. Mulțumesc foarte mult, mulțumim foarte mult